Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about Christmas all the way up until Christmas for December anyway. And with my co-host, Lucky Stone, and our guest tonight, Jeannie Griffith. Thank you both for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, where we're going to go with this tonight is, why do we celebrate this certain holiday? Why do we call it Christmas? Why do we put up a Christmas tree? Why is there tinsel on it? Why does Santa have reindeer and Rudolph in the front? Why isn't there, all these, where did it all come from? And that's where we're going with this tonight. Is it all about the little baby Jesus in the manger? Or is it more about the propaganda and the inclusion of other peoples and other religions than we can imagine? Anyway, so where do we want to start here? Jeannie, give us a little bit of what it was like probably before, maybe with if you didn't have the Christian religion around, what would you have been doing? How would you celebrate? Would you celebrate anything? Is it you celebrating the solstice? Are you celebrating the winter, the good harvest, the 3 days of darkness that comes around once a year? What are we doing?
Well, I'm going to go a little bit off my notes here because there's some words that they're not my words. They're another language that I've not spoken. And the goat, a lot of it is about the multifunctional, it's multifunctional and the importance. The primary symbol, one of the primary symbols of that day, back in the day, way before the Christians even got into the picture, it was about rebirth. And the winter, as we discuss it, we'll understand more that the winter brings rebirth. And the symbol, one of the most notable symbols of back in that day was the julebur, which is the goat. And I think there was another symbol of it. It was God of the fertile sun, which the white goat was primarily about the rebirth, looking back to our ancestors, looking and paying homage to the animals, to the crops, to the solar cycles, and how these things would influence it would influence everything in life. And so typically we would, back then it would be the winter solstice. And there's more I'd like to say, but one thing that I would like to say while I've got the floor here is that back in the 11th century, prior to all this other new stuff that's out, like the reindeer, like Rudolph, like these other little stories that we hear from when we're a child. But it's funny that a lot of the primary stories are all forsaken. They're gone. And I was reading this past summer in the Plains of Passage, and it talks about the Great Earth Mother, which if you bring it down to a acronym, it would be GEM, Gem, Great Earth Mother. And the reference in this Plains of Passage was the Mother's Milk story, which is telling about the Great Earth Mother, that she was made from her body, her own body, and how she lives in the same place as the moon and the sun. And I think I'm going to just touch real shortly on this, that there's a theory that the sun, moon, and earth are in this other atmosphere of all these other planetary systems. It's a one big planetary system. And that we weren't real, the intention was not to have all this other skata around us. And back in the day, she was called Donnie in this particular storyline, and it was about how she was very compassionate, highly empathetical, and both to humans and animals. I mean, she was the earth, she was the water, she was the land, she was the mountains, the desert, you know, trees, forest, you know, the whole thing, a carrot. And she was honored by the sacred coming of her children, which was us humans. And in Genesis 1:26, and I'm referring to King James version, talks about how Adam was created after the gods and the goddesses, Elohim. And in this whole thing about this storyline was that we were from the galactic core. The Anthropos was divinely inspired in the galactic core. So we have people say that we have this spark of divinity. Well, the way I look at it, and in my studies, it's more like we have the we were given the nous, the knowledge, the sacred knowledge of truth. And so that's a little bit about what I wanted to say, because there's more to it as well, because I know you've heard me talk about the organic light, and also in this story, the reference, the shelters of the stone, it was the mother's song. And this goes way thousands of years before Christ was born, you know, thousands of years. And there was a mother, it was the prose, you know, the line verse, not the poetic, but there was the poetic, the prose, and then there was where's that note go? The sagas, the traditions. Where's that note? I have it here. One is the Sonora Edda, which is the prose. The Samudra Edda was poetic. The Have Male, I said that wrong, is the folklore, the memory, the sagas, the songs, the imagination, creation, you know, the being creative. And all this wasn't written down until the 12th century. So then from the 12th century on, this story about falling into a glass of milk, so to speak, was forsaken. I mean, it's one of the most repressed stories of all time. So this kind of is in conjunction with what I had been looking at prior. We discussed it on your show, was the Sophianic myth story. So it goes really closely with it. But that line of prose is, the mother has milk, laid a path through the sky, which that's the organic light in the sky. So
well, here you mapped out a great story there, and you're right. The time before Christ, the Jesus, whatever, there was a time when people appreciated the earth, the sun, and everything around them, and they celebrated things by the solstice, the stars, things like that, and they didn't need that religion to keep them going until
and they also used the moon. I just want to time out. They also used the moon because women's cycles go with the moon, remember?
Yes.
So moon was very important for women and men and everybody.
But I mean, but I'm talking about the celestial bodies, and you're right. The sun, if without the sun, we won't live. The plants won't grow. The animals that eat the plants, they'll die. Everything revolves around the sun, and the earth. The earth gives us life because we are walking minerals and water. That's all this body is. It's minerals and water, and we are part of the earth. So why wouldn't that be our mother? And somehow it got twisted into, no, there's an invisible God out there who snapped his fingers and created man and said, I did a good job. Whereas we know that the creator, but the creator, you should know this. You should know this. As a creator, you're a woman. You can create life. Whereas is God, being a man, he wouldn't, unless he did it through artificial means, right?
Right.
So is the God a hermaphrodite? Is he a both? He is a woman and a man? I don't know. Lucky, let's hear from you. What do you think of all of this? What about religion here? Did they cascade on or step on other stuff that happened before? Capture the moon and the sun became God, and then they just filled it in with different blanks. Well, what do you think happened? What's your vision of all this?
It's so much. I'll try to truncate what I understand is basically all the Roman government wanted to do was take all the power for themselves. And that's all Constantine wanted. He needed a way to centralize all the power because he was losing power to the different religious heads. So, originally it goes all the way back to Alexander the Great. Whenever he would conquer someone, he'd go, okay, we'll accept your gods. They're yours, but you also have to accept some of ours, and I'm your king god. And they're like, okay, you'll let us worship our gods? Yes. So there were just so many. So it kind of disseminated the power. And, back in Egypt, when Akhenaten decided to become the head of one religion, the religion of Ra, and he's representative of Ra. And he went against all the priests and says, nope, you guys are all fired. Now there's only one God, and that's Ra. That was the first attempt. And that fails miserably because once he died, they got rid of everything, and his son became, go back to the old Egyptian stuff. So they tried again, and that became.
Are you talking about? This was before Flavius, right?
Yeah,
in 70 AD,
centuries before Flavius. Talking about a couple thousand years before Flavius. Flavius is later.
Like 10,000 years. Yeah.
Flavius is before Constantine. You got to remember that Flavius wanted to centralize the power, wanted to pick a religion. But until Constantine was the one who picked up the gauntlet and ran with it, and it was successful. He was the one who took everything and put it under one house. back when Rome split up. It became.
Well, his mother helped him. His mother helped him. She was Jewish.
Constantine.
Yes. Constantine's mother. Yes.
Yes, and she
because
was.
there was never even a Nazareth until she went over there and created the town Nazareth.
Yeah, it's a very complicated process where she was the one who says, "Yep, this is where he was crucified, and this is where this happened." She picked the spots. Constantine just wanted to centralize the power. All he wanted to do was just, hey, go find me a religion that I can centralize the power, that I can, all the priests will be all under one house. I'll be head of it. That's what religion was about, And I think that there was a Christian religion. There was a Gnostic religion, which was very powerful, very good, very, very mind-altering. But
it wasn't Gnostic, though. They stole that.
Gnostic is a word. It's a word.
But Gnostic means smart ass that the Christians used to call teleste.
Okay.
Gnostic. Telestes were the absolute primary. And then the Christians blew that up. And then that's when they started calling themselves Gnostics after that.
There were no Christians. It was a group of very enlightened individuals who had no name. Okay, let's say there was a group of guys.
They were called Telestai. They were the Telestai. That's what they were called. That's what they called themselves.
Okay.
Telestai.
Yeah, but they were before all of that. They were the earliest whatevers they were.
They were up until Hypatia in, I think it was 415. She got taken out of the mystery school. Well, she didn't get taken. She was leaving work that day from the from the mystery school, and I call them Jesuits because that's what that was kind of like what they were back then. They were still they existed then. They say they didn't, but they were like a type of that kind of sort. And they killed her in the street, and that was 415 AD, and that's when the Dark Ages started. That's when everything started going sideways, and all the mystery schools were then destroyed.
Okay. Gnostics were dualist, worship two or more gods. Christians were monist and worship one god. So the Gnostics focused on eradication of ignorance. How smart that is. Christian concerns were eradication.
The Christian so-called Gnostics were actually the Pharisees and Sadducees and all of them, and then they would go into these different sects, and they would, and then the Essenes are part and parcel to that too. Yeah, and they call themselves Gnostics.
Well, regardless of what it means or says, here's the thing. Okay, so the Gnostics were worshiping several gods, what's wrong with that? They were, they're worshiping the sun and maybe the water and the four elements, for instance. But here's the thing, here's the important part. Gnostics focused on the eradication of ignorance, which there's plenty of today, and Christians were concerned with the eradication of sin. But I want to see what you think of it. But see, here's the thing. Christians create ignorance. Because, and I don't want to say all the Christians are ignorant, but hey, when you belong to that religion, you just have to have faith and believe, no matter how wrong it seems, that Noah put two of every animal on that boat. It's true. He did. And of course, he left the dinosaurs off. That's why we don't have them today. You see what I'm saying?
The Christians also believe in that salvationist a mentality that there's going to be somebody come to save you because you're a sinner, and all Abrahamic religions have
Yes.
that sort of mentality. You know?
Yes, but tonight we're not talking about who sinned on who. We're talking about, what happened here. And the thing
But
is
Jesus came to save sins, and he was born on Christmas night. Remember?
That's right. And if you were a Gnostic, you'd been saying, "Oh my gosh, that's ignorance," because how did he get born on that night? So let's all pretend we're Gnostics tonight and go back in time and say, did he really get born on Christmas night? Or is that just like Lucky was saying with Alexander there, saying, "Hey, we're going to take some of your gods and you take some of our gods and we'll split it down the middle." But instead of labeling them as gods, because Christianity had to stick to one God, they pawned it off on saints. They pawned it off on different traditions. Hey, we'll move our Christ guy down to the 25th because that's a good time of year. That's a new beginning time of the year. That's right after the days of darkness. That, how about that? What did they do? Sit around a big round table and discuss this and say, okay, but then you got to have Easter over here if we can have Christmas over there. You know what I'm saying? Lucky, what's your opinion on that? You've studied this a little bit on, which days are what.
It's all just taking from the past. That's all it is. It's even Easter is not one single day. It's moved around for Passover.
Yeah.
So
isn't that ironic how you could just move that day around? Sometimes it's over here and sometimes it's over there. And
sometimes it's in one month and then next year it's in a different month,
Yeah.
But it all goes down to the confusion over months. The months that we have are all messed up. October means 8. September means 7, and December means 10. But it isn't, because they go, we fixed the calendar. No, they made it so everything we have is a lie. This is everything. Absolutely everything. This is the only proof that we have that we live in a simulation, because absolutely everything we have is a lie. But in the Bible, they have what Jesus said. And everything Jesus said is pure about being good, being kind, being generous. But then you got the dogmas where the priest said, okay, I'm translating for Jesus and you have to give money to us so we can give it to the poor. And it's all about, well, we control. It's like the government. The government says, yes, you pay our taxes so that we can help people. But wait, why are you driving, in first class airplanes? It's all about the people who take the money to give to help other people. Once money comes in, it becomes corrupt, and that's what happened. Religion in itself, on the lowest level, the personal level, is pure. But once you have heads, once you have groups, when you have a person to listen to who is in charge of everything, pure corruption. It's like an on and off switch. So what is Christmas? Christmas is a marketing scheme. Everything. It's all about marketing. What is Easter? Easter's about marketing. I don't think Jesus was about sin. Sin was about missing the mark. I think Jesus crushed.
That's what sin means. Sin means miss the mark.
Which is why I said that. But Christ was all about being kind, being connected. And he said, to the judges, you are God, because we all have a connection of God. We don't have to go to the church. Even when Jesus went to the church, went to the temple, he beat up all the money lenders, and he whipped them. What does that mean? Opulence. He doesn't like opulence, but all churches are opulence. Everything is a lie. So what is Christianity? Unfortunately, on the lowest level where they help each other, it's pure. But once you have people in charge, then it's corrupt. That's it. It's sad.
And I think that's why people follow that religion, because when you sit home at night and read those things in a Bible, and it's saying, don't kill your friend and don't murder, don't steal, don't do this, and love your neighbors, and Jesus did this, and the stories and the fables are good. They do kind of mirror Confucius and Buddha's stories, which they were around way before he was. But then again, all stories, when they're trying to prove a point, kind of mirror each other. So, who knows? But the point is, you're right. There's good things in it, but then when good people give up their, like we said, and become knowledge and become ignorant, so that they don't sin by following blindly, that's when trouble arises. That's when good people go astray. Good people give money to bad things, like the charities out there. I mean, who didn't see those charities on TV where you see the little dying baby in Africa and just give $2? Can you feed a child for a month? And how many people send their money over there thinking, well, I sent them $2. I'm going to feed some helping starving babies. But nobody took the time to look at what the laws say. And the law says that charity only has to give like 20% or something like that. Or less. Has to go to that country and do some good. Well, then where the rest? We'll just take a 20%, for instance, because otherwise,
administration fees.
Probably only like 3% though.
Yeah, well, 3%, regardless. But you don't sit there thinking. So basically, I gave you $2, and only like 6 cents is going over there to feed. So 6 cents is going to feed that child for a month. Are you kidding? No, it isn't. But we got 10,000 people who are donating $2, and then those 6 cents add up, and eventually we feed a half a dozen kids. But you don't know that. They don't tell you. They just show you those pictures of the big bags of grain coming and the little kids running out, or the water spewing out of a thing, and they're going, "Oh, it's water. We've never seen it before." The ones I'm talking about, especially at Christmas time, or the bell ringers. I was just at the store the other day, and the bell ringer, ding, 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 and it makes you feel so guilty. Do you feel guilty when you walk by there and they're dinging that bell? They're all dressed in red, ding, 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 and then you go, this one, they had like 5 people standing there, and I'm like, okay, I'm putting $1 in, and I couldn't.
That was very generous of you, Robert.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The kettle was so full, I couldn't stuff my $1 in there. I was like, oh my God, Anyway.
People are.
But how much is actually going? Which is the good charity did he give to?
Well, I think those Salvation Army people that are ringing the bell, I don't think they do it for volunteer work. I think they're doing it for some kind of something. Yeah. I don't know if that's their job. They get a percentage. I mean, there's something to that they're not there just standing around.
Well, and you don't know. I mean, we don't know if they get. I mean, do they? I don't know if it's a paid place.
I think they do get some kind of wage. They get some kind of
lot. Yeah, and even so, then like you said, it goes to the administrative, and once it gets
to
state.
I
know you're looking it up.
Army, they get $25 an hour in Massachusetts.
Wow!
Oh wow!
That's
Arizona, they get $21.38.
Maybe I'll go get a job doing that.
Ring the bell and get $25 an hour. Geez,
yeah,
or 20 or 17. Oh.
Yeah. Yes, they have to get paid an hourly wage, but that's well above minimum wage. That's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's a hard job.
Well, there are websites that do tell you what each charity does, and I can never remember what that website is. I did that because of the Humane Society. I used to send money to this Humane Society until someone said, "Do you know that they don't help any animals? They do help some, but most of the money goes to bureaucracies to pay off politicians. If you really want to help animals, you'll go to the shelter and give money to the shelter, or even volunteer. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh God. And that's the money. I literally go to my local shelter and give them cash and say, because I know the money goes to something. Or sometimes I can buy stuff because they have like Amazon and Chewy. You can give money to Chewy and they'll send the food or the supplies that they need to the shelter. That way the shelter says, yeah, you don't touch the money, you help us. Then Chewy gives them a discount so they get more food per dollar. Of course, Chewy uses it for advertisement, but again, the shelter gets something. But Humane Society, all those poor, sad dogs in cages, none of them are saved. Maybe I think it's like 5 or 10% goes to actual helping the animals. The rest of it is to pay off politicians.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on PETA. PETA's another problem. People want to help animals with PETA, and that's
PETA.
a nasty organization. That is an animal. There's no animal rights in that thing. They execute animals just for money. That's another thing entirely.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then they come out during the Christmas season. Why? Because this is a time for giving. Is it really? Yeah. How did the giving part get into this whole thing? Where was that created? Who said I got to give to you and you and you and you and you and everybody else? I mean, wasn't it just for like the children? Or am I wrong?
Well, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean before Christ, way before Christ, is sometimes they would, most oftentimes they would dress up and they'd go from place to place and they would sing and then they would hand out candy. They would sing they would sing songs. And we do that now. We call it, they do it. I don't do it, but they call it caroling now. Let's go caroling. I've done it before. So
yeah, I did that too. That was
it's fun. It's fun going caroling, especially when you know the songs. It's fun. But
and nowadays, you go caroling and they get the guy out there. He calls the cops and says, "There's people in my yard. They're trespassing. They're making an awful racket. Get out here right."
Yeah, I remember when we used to do it and everybody loved it and everybody had their lights up and their trees you could see their trees in their picture window and, it was fun, but I think it is gone way overboard from when, I grew up in the late, in the 50s and the 60s,
Are you dating
so it was different. I'm proud. I'm proud that I've lived this long. Okay. I am. One thing I'm proud of. And that I've made it this far and I'm, well past my second Saturn return. So it's one of those things that, it's just like Lucky says, it's a commercial. It's all commercial now. It was even commercial then too, but now more so than ever. And
do you want to?
It's really sad. It's really sad that it's become this.
Look at this guy's yard. Does this even? What does this have to do with Christmas? I hope you guys could see. I'm going to try and make it as big as I can.
Toyland, Toyland. Remember that song? Or that it was a play, Toyland.
Yeah, yes. Look at how big that. There's no yard left. This makes no sense. Look at here. Look at this guy. This isn't. Is this Christmas? Is it? Does it? Decorating your house
people go absolutely wild with that stuff. Look at that. Oh my stars. God.
Yeah, does this make Christmas? What the heck is this all about? That's what I'm saying. It's like, really? I mean, okay, look at there's some lights. That's good.
That's modest. That's nice. That's modest.
No, but like you
That's
said,
modest.
this looks like National Lampoon's Christmas. Remember with Chevy Chase and he gets out there, I'm gonna have the biggest, best Christmas tree house than ever, and and they just overdo it. He's on the roof trying to string the lights. And then can you imagine what your electric bill's gonna be? Oh my gosh, not even to think of that. It's just
that went through my head immediately. Yeah. And
I mean, is this even, what the hell is this? That's all I can say. I don't want this crap on my house. This to me doesn't say this is commercialization. And I was just talking with a friend here earlier, and I said, what is it going to be like in 20, 40, 50, 100 years? The kids, this is what kids will say. Oh, look at that. That's Christmas. They're having Christmas over there. Maybe at this house is really having Christmas, And then when you get to a house like this one, they're saying, oh, they really don't like Christmas. That,
oh,
you know what I mean? Because the traditions will have changed so much that this is how people will think of Christmas. They will think of it like that. And they won't know any of the meaning. They will just know that you got to decorate your house a lot. You got to, ho, ho, ho it up, and Santa Claus, and they won't even know where it all came from. Like Christmas cards, we're encouraged to send these Christmas cards. They have them in every store, and you send out all these cards. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, happy, Merry Christmas, and all that stuff. But and that's nice to send a letter to somebody.
Yeah, once a year.
Who invented this? The card
company? I don't know who invented it.
Well, and maybe nobody invented it, but who promoted it? Who benefited from it?
The stores, Macy's and all those, Ellsworth, and who are the other ones, Lucky, back there? Them back in the East. Newberry's.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are gone. Hallmark was basically the major one because they had a card store, but a lot of those are gone now.
Well, they were in those, Hallmarks were in those stores. They had Hallmark cards in those stores,
Yes.
From what I remember, they didn't really have their own store, but they had a salesman that brought Hallmark to Newberry's, to all the other little box stores, mom and pop stores, and all that. And I remember the Sears catalog. That was our wish book growing up.
Oh, yeah.
The Sears catalog, Gracie pennies, things like that.
We didn't have a Sears near us, but we had a Montgomery Ward, which was pretty much the same. And I would sit there through the catalog, that big, thick catalog.
We had Montgomery Ward around us too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
we just had the Christmas Sears Roebuck Christmas catalog. We actually had a store in the middle of town, which was you'd take what you order, and then they would order for you, and it was the exact personal mail order. You had to go there to have everything picked up. You had to go there, order, and then have it picked up the same place. It was
yeah. That's how.
Yeah, it was a service, something like a catalog service.
Yeah,
something like that. I can't remember. It's a long time ago for me. Yeah.
Yeah, the Montgomery Ward store was kind of the same in our town. You had to go there, you'd order, and then you'd go there and pick it up. And I remember my mom bought a TV and a refrigerator. She bought everything through that catalog, and they would ship it there. We'd go pick it up. Esley said Luther added the candles in the sash. I don't quite understand that. Luther who? And the candles. Is he talking about starting with the candles and the sashes for the decorations?
I'm not sure, but I know candles. They go back as far back as I think the Norse. The candles. Maybe I'm mistaken, but but I'm not sure about the sash. Yeah, Sears and Long's Drugs. Yep.
Never heard of a long drug.
Um,
Spiegel.
Spiegels. I remember Spiegels too. Well,
Kmart.
not so much in
Kmart.
Minnesota, but when I was in California, we had all those.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, here it is. Scotty Boy's got the end. Luther Van
Luther Vandross. Good
Dross.
boy, Scotty boy. Thanks.
What did he do? I'm gonna look him up.
Luther
Vandross is a singer.
Vandross.
Luther
Yeah.
Vandross is a singer. I think Scotty
Yeah.
Boy's messing with you.
And I like his singing. I think it was Luther that I really like his singing. He's got that deep voice, right? He's got a sexy voice, I think. But I'm
Oh, it
not
says here
sure.
it's all about Christmas songs. Luther Vandross, Luther Vandross, American singer. Oh, is this the guy? This ain't the guy. No. Anyway, here.
Martin Luther and Calvin, the Great Schism.
I was thinking when they Luther, I was thinking of the Luther from the ones that split from the Catholic Church.
That guy?
Luther was Luther.
No. It's Martin Luther in Calvin. It's Esley at the bottom, the last thing he wrote.
Oh, okay. See, he knows what he's talking about. We have the smartest people in the chat.
Wouldn't know what to do without him sometimes.
Martin Luther. Okay, that changes things. Okay, here, we got to be the oh, this guy looks better. Okay. This looks better. This looks right. What did he do? Well, okay, let's go like that. Luther was a German priest, theologian, author, hymn writer, professor. What did he write? Did he write some good stuff? Professor and Austrian friar. He was a seminal figure in Protestant such and such. Okay. Okay, I've got to go over to this side. He was the seminal figure in the Protestant Reformation, and his theological beliefs formed the basis of Lutheranism. Luther was ordained to the priesthood in 1507. What did he write? Silent Night or something like that, or what? I don't know. I
think that wasn't that the beginning of the Protestant religion, Lucky?
Yeah.
When they split, split from the Catholic Church, I think. But I don't remember all that stuff anymore. It's just so stuff that's not important to me anymore,
Yeah. See, these were the guys that made up the matrix that started everything. You know what I mean? These guys, a guy like him, he put the foundation in for the construction of what we got now.
I think
way
he
back,
wants the medal,
so the thing is nothing ever changes. It always did.
It's all confirmation bias too,
Yeah.
A lot.
And then all those
Martin Luther had a problem with the church, and he got sick of the because basically back then they had to pay to get their sins forgiven, and Martin Luther got upset about that, so he put a bunch of rules on the door to say, hey, because that's what you have to do. You nail it on the door to say, yeah, we have a problem here. We got to fix this. But rather than getting it fixed, it rolled into, wait, we got a better way. Let's make a better religion. And once they made a better religion, you got corrupt again. So every time you get a better religion, it becomes corrupt with the leaders stealing from the parishioners.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, just a roll. It's a wall. It keeps going around.
Exactly. Jeffrey Daugherty had an excellent show. I think it was this past week or the week before. And it was on what's this lady's she was one of the big beginners of the big mega churches, and she was the biggest crook. She was the biggest crook and I can't remember her name, but if you go back and look at Jeff's show, you'll see that he did excellent research on it, and it's phenomenal. You wouldn't even believe what you're hearing, really, but it's true. It's all true, you know.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, but here's the problem. Nobody takes the time to investigate these people before they hand over their cash. They just see what's on the top, the shiny side of the coin. They don't see the whole picture.
Forgiveness. Oh, I can get forgiven. If I pay a few bucks, I can get forgiven. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the problem is what Lucky? Huh? Go ahead.
That's it. Just one of the things is like people want the easy solution without realizing, wait, is there really a solution here? And, who's forgiving you? Does God really care? You just, our religion has been.
Is there really a God? Is there really? Yeah. Does that God really exist? And if he does, is he worthy of being worshipped?
Well, and that's the whole thing. They use the basis before all this religion, the Christian religion was established, I think. And I think they just set it up like, okay, like you were talking earlier, Lucky, about the Egyptians and which guy was it? But he set it up as Ra was going to be at the top. And then he was trying to make his own religion that way. And it kind of failed because he didn't live long enough. If he would have lived 500 years, it would have been established.
Yeah.
No, he basically didn't set up a system. He did it himself, but then there was no one else because he pissed off he upset all the other priests. So no one was going to support him,
Yeah, but as long as he was alive and in power, he was new, it was going to go. But like I said, being a human, he couldn't live long enough to see generations and generations go by to accept what he had to offer. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I bet you 10-1 that Constantine and Flavius, if they came back right now as who they were then, like skipped ahead in time, they wouldn't believe their eyes or their ears as to how this world has become due to their religion.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they would go, wow, I had that much impact on 1,000, 2,000, over 2,000 years, which is debatable, the amount of time that's gone by. There's some theories out there, but it's amazing how in that time frame, how they wanted to dumb down the entire area, in the Levant, Egypt, Rome, Greece, how they changed everything, and then Greece, they never really believed in it. They believe in the icons, they don't believe in Jesus was a god or the father of a god, the son of a god or whatever. They don't believe that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who go along to get along. They may, but then there's others who embrace it totally without thinking, and they just have faith and believe, and they never question anything. That's you have to question things.
There's a rationale with that. It's hard to have. I mean, what is their IQ, first of all?
Well,
you think what is their IQ? And
a lot of the richer people, they're really not into the religion unless it's for show. I mean, we'll throw out a good one there. When the president gets up there, he says one thing and does another. He may go to church, but then he comes out of there and says, "Hey, let's give abortions to everybody," but yet
he's a Catholic.
Yeah, or the other one who was in office just before him, who all of a sudden he just started embracing religion, and you could
Which
tell
was
it,
questionable too.
so did he just do it for show? I think all of them did it for show. The one before him who said, well, I forget what he was, but then anyway, he was a Muslim, but he was a Christian. So what was he? To this day, I don't think anybody really knows if he's in between or whatever, but he did it for show. He did it for show.
I didn't know
Well,
Biden was Catholic.
Yes.
Biden is Catholic. Biden is Catholic.
I grew up Catholic. And all this time, I can honestly say, I never knew Biden was Catholic. I didn't really care that much. It really didn't matter because he didn't represent the Catholic at all, But when she said that, of course, I just looked it up and I'm like, oh boy, he's the second Catholic president. That's one thing that blew my mind. I probably already knew it and then blocked it out, which is probably the truth, which is even worse. But yeah.
So the thing is he's saying, he goes to church where, if you have faith and believe, these are the things you should follow your steps by, right? But then he comes up on the podium there, and everything he does seems to be to the side of that, like he's not, and that's where everything gets messed up. I think Max said it best. The Creator is neither needs your worship, just a relationship, and that's good.
Well, yeah, and it's a kind of like a economic kind of relationship too. I certainly truly have a relationship with the gods, and you get into like you're looking for a parking space, let's say. You come in this Costco parking lot and it's jam packed, and you're looking for a space, and then a car comes right out and you go right into a nice sweet parking spot. That to me is not some kind of Jesus or anything like that. That's just a universal principle, So.
Yeah, I don't know why people don't understand that. You're exactly right. Wasn't it Oprah who was promoting that, like some big secret? If you just drive around the parking lot enough times, that perfect parking spot will open up for you.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about coming in. Your intentions are good and you want that parking spot. You're not driving all around. You just go right to that spot and the car comes out and then you scoot right in. I'm not talking about driving around the parking lot.
No, I can do that too. And my wife says, oh, wait, we didn't get a good parking place. I'm like, yes, because we didn't tell me where we were going to go. This is an extra spot. We'll get a good parking where the original place we're going to go, but not here because I didn't request in advance. And she said, oh, let's go. Then we go to the other place and perfect parking place. And it's like one of the things is like, it's one of the things is things have to, equal out. You have to, things just happen for me. Yes, I can get a great parking place, but again, I have to ask for it before I get there. Not right when I get there. I can't drive around I can't explain it. Well, I can, but it gets long and winded and.
Yeah, and it's not necessary, but it's just principle. It's the universal principles, and it's awesome. How lucky.
Oh, also, thank you. I always say thank you so much for this. And I tell my wife, please say thank you, because if you don't say thank you, it means it wasn't important to you.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I always say that,
yeah.
and that's the thing. If you, it's like, the blue dot. Remember the blue dot from in the Inquirer magazine? You guys know that. You've had the Inquirer.
Dot?
There used to be a blue dot in the Inquirer. Every now and then there was a blue dot.
Oh, that was like 80s.
Yeah. Yes. And I remember my grandma used to cut the blue dot out for me, and she'd give it to me, and I'd keep it in my wallet because she'd say, "Oh, that blue dot was gonna, give you luck. It was in the Enquirer. It's, somebody had luck, and they put it in the paint or the ink or something, and put it on the thing, and then you rub it, and you're supposed to get lucky. And when you do win the lottery or something like that, you write into the Enquirer, and they'll print your story." And I'm thinking, well, of course, I'm going to rub the blue dot, and I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket. And, well, you know what? If 100,000 people do that, somebody's going to win something, and they're going to write in and say, "Wow, I won $10,000 because I rubbed the blue dot. I walked right into the store. I says, 'Give me a ticket,' and I scratched it off, and I won just like that." Now,
I love those scratch tickets when they come through.
was it really the blue dot, or was it your intention?
I think it's intention or luck, just pure luck.
That's the truth. It's intentions, and unfortunately, you're right. But if you have 10,000 people rubbing a blue dot, a few of them will have the winning because it's just statistics.
And then what happens is, and this will build up with the Christmas thing too. But the thing is once 10,000 people rub the blue dot, they all buy a lottery ticket. Of course, 9,999 of them are going to be disappointed. And that one writes in and says, "I won the $10,000. And now 100,000 people see that guy won $10,000, and they all rub the blue dot, and they all go buy lottery tickets or whatever that is, and they write it, 'I won a new car. I got a refund on my taxes. I won the $1 million lottery.' Because now you've increased the pool of people who rub the blue dot, and that's how it goes. You only need a couple to really say, 'I believe, and I went in there and I won, so it's true,' because I just went." I had that feeling, and I wrote down these numbers. I rubbed the blue dot, and I wrote down the numbers. I bought that, the Powerball ticket, and it was right the first time. But how many Powerballs did you buy in your life? Or how many people were buying? Oh, 1 billion people bought that Powerball. You were just the lucky one. You got the right numbers. I mean,
If you're Canadian, you have blue money.
There you go, blue money. You don't have to rub the blue dot. You just have to rub the blue money.
I forgot. I haven't been to Canada in about 4 years, but I have a pile of Canadian money. I look at it every so often. And I have a sigil.
Yeah.
Well, there's a sigil.
Isn't that a monarchy thing?
What?
Monarch.
Canada,
the British monarchy.
They're Commonwealth, I believe. Well, Max is here. He knows he's a member of the monarchy.
Yeah. F. Kitty says all religions hold some truth, but not all truth. They run agendas. Yes. But here's the thing I want to say about the religion. The thing is, if anything you want to tell somebody doesn't hold any truth, nobody will believe it. It has to have some small bit of truth, just enough to keep you connected. Sure. Not enough to, it could be mostly a lie. It's kind of like the alien thing. And I know Pamela's Jean's in there. And here's the thing. The aliens out there, so much talk about aliens, but then again, there's so much disinformation. And then there's so many of these people that are really investigating it. And they're
invested. They get invested because of the time and everything,
Yeah, but then when they get some guy from the government that gives them a little bit, takes them into a back room, says you gotta sign the disclosure form, and here you can read these articles and and everything. Well, you kind of believe him because wow, I'm getting all the good stuff here. And then you go running out and you tell everybody, but there was just enough in that bit that he gave you that to seem real. He put the pieces together that you were already thinking, and he fed you some truth and he fed you some lies. That's why we believe a lot of that stuff, because, ooh, there's Area 51. And, there was a guy who's seen something fly across the sky. And then, there was some wreckage. Well, okay, those are the truths. There was some wreckage. Somebody's seen something fly, but you don't know all the blanks in there. That's all the blacked out areas. And then your mind just fills in those blanks. And I think that's what we do with religion. I think that's what we did with Christmas. Somebody put in the blanks and says, here's the holidays. This is the days they're celebrating. And our minds just filled in the blanks. And now here we are, decorating our houses, watching Santa come across the sky with Rudolph lighting the way, buying Christmas cards for everybody and anybody, and piles of gifts for your whole family, the next door neighbors, and yourself, to the point where we don't even know what Christmas is about, or what it's for, or why.
Well, back in the day, and I keep going back in the day because that's where I mostly connect with my ancestors back in those times. And Thor was the one who rode the chariot with the goats,
Yeah.
And Thor, that was all part and parcel to the rebirth, And there's lots of stories with Thor in it, that.
Mm-hmm.
But the Christmas one is that, with the goats.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little?
I don't have full knowledge of all that stuff, so I can't really talk to it intensely like I would like to, but just keep that as a thought, that Thor was also involved in the Christmas story way back then. It's Scandinavian, it's Celtic, it's Germanic, it's all of those, all the Aryan tribes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Okay, well, let's wrap this up. Lucky, what do you think of this whole thing? We'll go with you first tonight.
I believe there's a lot of goodness and truth in all of this. Unfortunately, it's wrapped in a lot of garbage and lies. But the lies are like chocolate and they taste good. While the truth, it's good for you, but it just, it's really good for you. But again, sometimes what's good for you, it's bland and doesn't taste the greatest, but it's the best thing for you.
Just add a little salt.
Well, for me, I started drinking chocolate, pure cocoa with no sugar. And I became so used to it that I went with friends last week and we had hot cocoa, and it tasted terrible to me. It was like all sugar. And I'm like, what's wrong with this? This tastes terrible. And my wife points out, you drink pure cocoa normally. You're not used to the sugar, you idiot. That's exactly what she said to me. My friends are like, no, this is good stuff.
No, that's terrible.
But yeah, if you have really cocoa, hot cocoa with a little bit of vanilla, pure vanilla, real vanilla extract, a little teeny bit, goes a long way. It's delicious. But of course, we're so used to the sugar on top. That's what the lies are. It's not good for you. It goes down easy. It tastes good, but it's not good for you. I think that's Christmas is. There's a lot of goodness in it, but it's covered with all the prettiness and the beauty and expense.
Wow, that is a great description. That Jeannie, you're going to have to. It's going to be real hard to top that one. That is awesome. That was really good description. I like it.
Yeah. Well, chocolate and candy canes. I love peppermint with chocolate. And I'm like you. I don't like my things real sugary or too sweet or anything. I'd like the taste of cacao, But it's hard to try to say something beyond that, but you're so right, Lucky, that it's supposed to be a holiday of gathering, of joy, of giving, being generous, and being the highest frequency in the Shakti cluster. Generosity beats out anything. but I think just as long as we keep our intentions clear, and we know that for me, it's about Gem, the great Earth Mother. She's everything to me, you know. So we have venison in our refrigerator. We have a goat in our refrigerator. I made some beautiful goat stew yesterday and had topped it off with goat soup today. And to me, that's what Christmas is about. You know, it's about sharing good food, good friends, good spirit. It's eggnog. And, you know, those kinds of things, that's what the holidays are about for me, you know. Keeping keeping that fake sugar out of it and just keep it all pure love, you know.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I like that. That's, you know, getting back to our
It's not as profound. It's not as profound as Lucky's.
Yeah, good. Lucky you topped that one off tonight. You get the gold star. You got the gold star. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I appreciate both of you so much. Big shout out to everybody that was here tonight, from S. Lee, F. Kitty. Thank you, S. Lee, for all the good tidbits there. Excellent. Max Vision has a new channel, or his backup channel, because he got banned. He's having a show tonight, a short show, he says. So go over there and check him out. Here's his link right there. There we go. I can put it in. Anyway, remember tomorrow night, I'm going to be on Nina the Mystic, another show of back before all this stuff was going on. So you'll find out a little bit, you know, Horns of the Goddess. It's getting really interesting. And I think I'm learning a lot about it, because these people were Druid people. They were, you know, from the roots. They knew about things that were other than the Christians, you know, religion wanted to push out there, the Pope and, you know, the things, you know, it just went on and on. So it's a good thing to catch. Pamela Jean was in the house. Scotty boy. Oh, there you go. He got Druid Tarot. Good deal. Let's see who else is in the house tonight. Mary Wins. Mary Wins is in the house. Thank you for coming.
My ear just sounds like Nina has.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I've had these for a long time. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yes. And Ashley says, Rachel, thank you. Great teaching. And a love one. Mary says, love one. There we go. Anyway, thank you all. Next week, we'll come up with something new. What were the three wise men doing on a dark night on camels crossing the desert to find a manger? And was it really there? I sound like, who's that guy? I sound like, but I sound like somebody. And it ain't calling car 54. Anyway, thank you.
Where are you? Remember that show? Car 54,
yeah,
where are
54,
you?
Where are you? I'm glad I'm not the only one. Anyway, with that, remember the season's about caring, giving, being with the people that you love the most. It's not about all the frills. Take out the sugar. I love it. Take out the sugar and just drink the cocoa, and maybe throw in a little peppermint. But you know, that's what it's all about. And as the days get shorter and shorter and shorter, we look forward to that new beginning when they start getting longer. So be ready for that. Remember, people, go out and be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love y'all. Peace, everybody.